All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. We're going to give it a minute or two for you to go ahead and share this broadcast. We are just getting online. We're a few moments behind, but guess what? We have a full show for you tonight. So go ahead and share and like this broadcast. It's going to be great on tonight. We are making sure all of our devices are connected. If you are on social media right now, go ahead and make sure that you are sharing and liking this broadcast, sharing it with your family and friends, going ahead and give a good text message to your friends and family that the show is about to begin. If you are on YouTube at S Lovelace TV, we want to welcome you and thank you for joining YouTube tonight as we do our triumphant broadcast. We want to thank you for subscribing and make sure that you share with your family and friends about the channel as well. There's always something different every week. So make sure you share, share, and share. All right, we're going to give it about 30 seconds so that you all can get in. You all can get on board and we're going to get started. We have, again, an awesome show tonight. As I tell everyone all the time, go ahead and kick those shoes off. If you work from home, take those night pajamas off and put on, no, take the day pajamas off and put on your night pajamas. And get your cup of tea, whatever you need, and just sit back, relax, and hang with us for a little while. It's just going to be just an awesome show on tonight. So I'm just super excited. As you come in, we want you to just let us know who you are. Let us know where you're coming in from so that we know that you are here and so that we can recognize you on tonight. Again, an awesome show on tonight that we have. Just a few more moments. Hi, Ronisa. Greetings. Thank you for joining on tonight. I'm excited for the show tonight. All right. And I see a few of you all joining in as well. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Great, fantastic. Just about 10 more seconds here, and we're going to get started so that we can take advantage of this awesome woman that we have on the show on tonight. All right. Let's get going. Let's get going. All right. Everyone, let's formally just get going right now. Listen, welcome, welcome, welcome to the Triumphant Show with Sherida Lovelace. I am your host, Sherida Lovelace. And as always, I'm so grateful to spend another time segment with you. If you are listening in any part of the United States on the actual live broadcast night, welcome. And I hope you receive something great that you can take in your bosom and just be encouraged. If you are watching the replay, thank you for catching the replay. And if you are watching in another nation, God bless you and thank you for all the other families from other nations. May you receive a triumphant nugget tonight from this actual broadcast. Make sure that you follow, like, and share. I do want to give a special shout out to all of our global media partners and all those who have partnered with the Triumphant Show. Thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless you. And I look forward to what 2021 has for us. And listen, speaking of 2020, 2021, we are filling up, but if you want to be a guest, go ahead and join the list. Email us at sheridalovelace@gmail.com and come and share your story, share your gift, share what God is doing in your life, share the inspiration and the events that are connected with it so that we can continue to highlight the awesome things men and women are doing across the globe. I'm telling you, we are doing some phenomenal things in 2021. There's some phenomenal people that are doing some awesome things, and we're just glad to be a part of it. You know, remember that song in church that used to say, glad to be in the service? Well, you know what? I am glad to be a part of this platform where we can just highlight triumph, victory, celebration, joy, happiness, peace, despite it all. And so I'm excited about tonight. Listen, this is the place where victory repeats itself. And so make sure that you go ahead and just be prepared to receive something, a nugget of joy, of peace, of happiness on tonight, because God wants that for you. And truly, tonight is going to be another December to remember. Listen, we talked about December to remember the last couple of weeks. We've had some awesome musical artists on, and I'm super excited about my guest on tonight because not only have I had the privilege of hearing her play through a church event years ago, but also she's been with me in studio on the Triumphant show prior to, and I have seen this girl do her thing. Can I tell you? She is doing her thing for the people, and I'm excited to share with all of you that are new to the platform, or those of you that just need a reminder of who she is and the event that is coming up December 17th. Let me tell you, December 17th is our date. We are all going to have a date, y'all. You hear me, all the listeners and viewers? Whatever time you are listening to this replay, I hope it is before December 17th, because there is a virtual event that we're going to get to at some point in the broadcast. We're going to talk about that in some detail, but we want to make sure that we put it in your spirits right now. December 17th is going to be a phenomenal event, so you don't want to miss it. But I want to get started first and talk to our guests. For those of you that are new to the platform again and that are just beginning to meet her, I want to introduce to you the artist of the violin, Brooke Alford. Brooke, welcome to the Triumphant show.
Thank you. Greetings, everyone.
Listen.
So glad to be here, Sherida, in a different way.
Right,
But
right.
it's good to be here.
Yeah, I'm just super excited. And I just, as I follow what you're doing, I'm just like, this girl is awesome. So encouraging, inspiring. And I've always said how much I love what you do. And you just never know how people come together. It's just so amazing how God does that, and how people continue to be a blessing to someone else. And I say that because your inspiration is continuing to bless so many people, even people you don't even know. We're watching, and it's exciting. But listen, Brooke, I want to tell them a little bit about you, and then I want to go into some details about when you first picked up that violin. Years ago, before we get into that. But those of you that are new, hey, Brian from California, thank you for joining. God bless you. Those of you that are just tuning in, let me just tell you real quick, she's a native of North Carolina. She's been in artistry 13 years. I just want to say that decade plus number, okay? She's released over 4 CDs. She's open for The Whispers, Mint Condition, India Irene, Najee, Will Downing, so many others. Notable corporate clients include Mercedes-Benz, Coca-Cola, Talia Wajid. I remember Talia. I did a hair fashion show for her years ago. But she's been a corporate client, has so many more. And you all can find this and more information at her website at brookealfordviolin.com. We'll be repeating that throughout the show. So Brooke, I know that you have grown in this environment of the arts of music, and I love it. And your mother, she was an educator, if I'm correct. But talk to us about your journey first, growing up in a household of the arts, and how that simmered something in you to do what you're doing today. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Well, it definitely started before I was born. My parents, just to give you a little information about them, my mother, she was studying in school. She was studying music, and she is a pianist, and so she was studying music education. So off the bat, music has always been around. And so my father at the time, because my parents met in college, he was studying English, and so he was writing poems and wooing my mother at the lake, with his poems. And so
love it.
We basically grew up in the house with these two creatives, me and my siblings, Vernon and Mia. And excuse me, sorry, I just need to grab. Ooh, my eyes tearing up. But
your heart.
yes, we grew up in that type of household where our parents, they recognized certain habits that we would have creatively and say, and what we gravitated to. They paid attention. And so they noticed that I was always at the piano. My sister was always at the piano. My brother wasn't born yet. So we were kind of banging around the piano. Then my mom finally said, okay, we're going to start you on piano. Okay. I was 3. And then by 5, She started teaching me formally, and then later on in my 5 years of life on earth, I was performing. And we grew up in a household of all the classics, the LPs, the vinyl, soul, as well as classical, as well as R&B, all of the above. My parents exposed us to all of it. My father, I have to attribute to him the soul part, because James Brown, Otis Redding,
Yes.
um,
Wow.
oh my goodness, who else? The Isley Brothers, all of that was playing for sure in the house, and Michael Jackson, the Jacksons, Jackson 5, all of that. So
Wow.
it was surrounded, and he was also a visual artist, so we had art all around us. And so the violin came in a little later in my life. That's a whole nother story in itself.
Right.
But the
Right.
skinny of it is
Yeah.
that the violin found me through my father and his occupation at the time as a principal, because he was an English major, then he went into education leadership. And so he ended up getting his PhD in education as education leadership for Fulton County Board, is eventually where he retired from. But um, yeah, he was a principal at the time, and basically I was walking around the school on take your daughters to work. They don't do that anymore, I guess.
No.
So we were doing take your daughter to work day to get it up close of what a job, a day in the life of your parent looks like. And so it was considered a field trip. So I was snooping around the school, and I went into the orchestra room, and the rest is history.
The
And
rest is
I
history.
learned violin on the spot with
Wow.
the teacher. Yes, and 4 months later, I was performing.
4 months later
So
performing.
yeah,
I want to back up a little bit because you were talking about the music that your parents would play around the house, and it reminds me growing up. My parents were it was I remember Saturday mornings they would put on the record player
yep,
music while they were cleaning the house or we had to clean, and so these same type of artists are playing on the record player in the house. And for those of you listening and watching tonight, music is so influential in that family unit, is influential as well. I want you to kind of breathe that in a little bit because not everyone has that, but for whatever reason, God will give that to some of us because we'll have an assignment later on. We may not even understand, but realize it's because of that environment that we were in that allowed us to do the things that we have to do. And I want to pay respects, if that's okay, to Dr. Vernon Alford Jr., his passing, and great man. And you learned a lot and grasped a lot from your father. After this happened this year, how has this molded, and I'm jumping ahead just a little bit for a second, how has this molded your way of doing music? I want someone to be encouraged by the strength that you have with this going on the last few months.
I tell you, and I'm over here with my cloth now.
Yeah, bless
Like
your heart.
these things come out of nowhere.
Yeah,
Nothing compares. It's incomparable to a parent passing, especially one that you were close to, and it just happened, boom, like whoa. And so nothing will prepare you. You can try. I tried for about a year to
yeah,
just prepare myself for anything that could happen. But I think when my father made his transition due to stage 4 cancer in August, um, it was like a light immediately went off in me. And I
wow.
felt that I had an obligation to fulfill
Mhm.
something that he started, because this is a man who came from nothing. Like when I say nothing, as far as the physical, of course,
Sure.
within him was very rich, very, very rich.
Yeah.
And so, coming from a big family and very, very humble beginnings for him, growing up in the projects in North Carolina, South Carolina, and paying his own way through college himself.
Wow.
Yes, all 3 degrees, because he was the first to graduate from his school, from his family, from college. And so he wanted to set a standard, and be a leader, which he was a leader.
Right.
And so just seeing what he started, he said, I'm not going to raise my children in the conditions that I grew up in. we're going to
Wow.
move to the suburbs, and we're going to move to Georgia, and we're going to,
Wow.
I want to raise them to have their own bedrooms, because he didn't have his own bedroom.
Wow.
Opposite was what he wanted us to grow up in. And so he was like, I want all my children to get an education. I want all of them to graduate from college. I want all of them to be well rounded and educated, articulate. I want all of them to be avid readers. I want all of them, he spoke all of these things. He wasn't a man who just talked a lot. Like
Yeah.
he was a writer. So again, the English major, and he wrote books. He actually wrote books, children's books and poetry books.
Wow.
And so he would write the books for us when we were little,
Wow.
so that
Wow.
he could read them to us when we were little. And so my mother, extremely supportive, and in her endeavors as a music teacher as well. She, was extremely supportive of my father, especially as an educator, and watching him go through all these degrees, and mom doing whatever she had to do with us, take care of the household while dad had to go and study. Whatever, they were teaming it up, to make
Right.
it work. So I'm grateful for the legacy he started, helping us to grow up in um, a nice neighborhood with
Yeah.
good neighbors, and establishing in us and his main thing was, he said to all of us
Yeah.
individually,
Wow.
at some point in our life, he said, if you start something, you finish it, period.
Mm,
You don't start, let it go, no, you start it, you commit to it, you finish it. If it takes you 5 months, 5 years, 50 years, you finish it.
that's right.
And so
That's
that
right.
has stayed with all of us, to this day. And I mean, my dad, there's so much I could say about my
Yeah.
father. Every time I look at myself, I see him,
Yeah.
because we are our ancestors.
Yeah.
We look like
Come
our
on.
lineage, So I'm
Right.
I'm honored, and I do feel obligated to stand stronger in my
Yeah.
walk,
Wow.
and stand stronger in my life, and just let my life be a reflection of what
Mm,
my father truly instilled in me. So I represent him, and I
yes.
represent all that came before him, that worked hard to get me to where
Yeah.
I am, to be able to play the violin and
Right.
share it with the world. So I encourage those who maybe have experienced loss to just look at the legacy. That's number one. And that legacy gives you a purpose, especially
Mm,
if it's a loved one you are close to stand stronger, and you can channel your energy into sharing your gift with humanity,
right.
serving humanity, serving. I
Yes.
found myself serving more in this period, and just giving. Even when I felt depleted, I actually gave, and I got it right on back. It was like a replenishment. So when you think you don't have anything to give, you have
Mm,
something to give. And
come
so
on.
I'm
Mm,
grateful. I've grieved, I'm grieving, but
yeah.
I'm healing, and I'm
Yeah.
healed. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful.
That, I mean, everything you're saying, it is beautiful. It's touching me. And those of you that are just tuning in, we're listening to the artist of the violin, Brooke Alford, and just going through the beginning years of her in her life. But we were just hearing a great encouragement and a nugget of inspiration after the passing of her father just recently, Dr. Vernon Alford Jr., this past August, and how she's continuing to go forward and the legacy, giving her purpose and serving, and the fact that what he instilled in her. And Brooke, I have to say, when you're on stage and when you got that violin, you are somewhere else, woman, because you
Yes.
truly are sharing with the world a light. You're sharing with the world inspiration, encouragement. I don't think I've ever seen you performing, even watching on YouTube or wherever your videos, without a smile on your face, and electric energy that comes from that passion of what you do. And those of you that are listening and watching tonight, I just want you to embrace the fact of what she said. It may seem like a loss, and it may be, but God just does something and allows you to keep going, you guys, to keep doing what you're called to do. And Brooke, I almost think, I'm like, you've been around people around the world, and still remain this humble spirit. We are getting blessed. And I want to encourage those people that are watching tonight that despite what it's felt like, whatever you're going through, or whatever happens, to keep going. We have a guest on tonight. She's still going. She's still pushing through, and where she's felt depleted, she said an awesome word. She said serving. Even when you don't feel like it, it might be hard. I agree.
Right.
I understand, and so, this is just really inspiring for so many of us. Did you ever imagine, even as you were growing up with all of this musical talent, you even did dance at a point, all this creativity that was in your household, did you ever dream that, what, one day I'm going to be around the world with these famous people? Did you ever dream and see this before it happened?
I will say yes. When I was a child, I knew that at age of 3, I loved performing. Like my
Wow.
parents would always put me somewhere for me.
Look at Brooke.
Look at Brooke. Yes. And my sister, my older sister, she'd be like, look at Brooke, that
Yes.
type of thing. When we were younger, she gets it now, of course,
Right.
in our womanhood. But younger, it was just kind of like, she was like, you always love attention. And I was like, is that what it's called? I just love
Right.
performing.
Right.
And so my mother and my father knew I was very competitive. And so I would just, they
Yeah.
put me in all kinds of competitions. And then when I got into athleticism, again, competitions and
Yeah.
all of those things. But yeah, I've always loved performing. And I knew at 3, I loved being on the stage. And I was dancing at the time. And all
Okay.
the girls in the class were like, okay, follow her because she seems to
That's
know
cool.
what she's doing. And so then I loved playing piano. So I would go and perform piano. That was a solo instrument. So
Yeah.
I loved performing solo. And then when I played the violin, by the time I reached age 12, I knew that I wanted to pursue playing the violin as a
Great.
career. I knew. I didn't know
Wow.
what aspect of it, but
But
I
how? Yeah.
knew I was going to be playing professionally. And I ideally I wanted to play in the Barry White's Love Unlimited Orchestra because I
Right.
would always listen to Barry White and all the strings. I was like, I want to be in that orchestra or that kind of
Wow.
orchestra. And so, and I love music, movie music. I would listen to soundtracks, and I was
Yeah.
like, I want to play in the orchestra that plays the music for all these big movies.
Look at
And
that.
so, I just would speak it. I didn't know I was speaking and creating and designing my life, but I was speaking it early,
Mm.
and I was walking in it at the same time, and my parents recognized it. They never said no to me. Whenever I said, Mom, I want to go study in London, my parents looked at each other probably like this. I was like, okay,
Wow.
okay, Brooke,
Wow.
make it happen.
Right.
So
Right.
they
Wow.
always made it happen. And I don't know how. I don't know the sacrifices, but I'm learning about some of them now in my
Yeah.
womanhood
Yeah.
that they made to help
Yeah.
all of myself, my brother Vernon, my sister Mia,
Yes.
to pursue
Right.
what we desired. So
Right. That's phenomenal. It's fantastic. I'm watching some comments here, and I want to get to some of you all right before I get into what I want you all to hear for a second. I want to say hello to Vanessa and Eric from Memphis, Tennessee. Hi, I love you guys to live. Bishop Samuel McGill, Pastor Simmons, all of you. God bless you. Thank you for joining. Everyone that's joining on tonight. You can find Brooke's information in her works, and you can book her. We're going to get into that shortly at www.brookealfordviolin.com. BROOKEALFORDVIOLIN.com. So make sure you support this woman. You have played all genres of music. I mean, you're trained in everything.
mhm.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just kind of. And do you play by ear or do you read the music as a musician? For those of us that are watching and viewing, how do you look at music and play it, or do you just play? Because when I see you on stage, you're a dance all in its own. I mean, you even have the chords to sing. I mean, it's so amazing. So how do you do that? How did you learn, by sheet music or by ear, or how is that?
Well, I am trained classically, Western European classical tradition, meaning sheet music, orchestral music, solo concertos, all the classical music, quote unquote classical music that you hear. That is my foundation. And
Wow.
so that's where I started in my studies over 27 years ago. I've been playing the violin for a while.
Yeah.
But over 27 years ago. And yeah, the training for me really became established when I got in high school. I started
Okay.
studying under the Atlanta Symphony.
Uh,
And then when I went to college, I did get my degree in violin performance, BM music, and studied there. And I also studied part of my college career overseas in London,
right.
under the Royal Philharmonic. And so I had a good foundation, and that's what I wanted for myself. I said, I don't see myself sitting in the orchestra and just, being a part of the bigger
Right.
machine, because, the orchestra is like a machine. All these
Yeah.
moving parts, they have to
Right.
work together. And I
Yeah.
saw myself doing that part of the time, but not all of the time. And so I
Right.
said, but I'm going to go to school, get my skills all the way up so I
There you
can
go.
have a foundation, number one, technically and
Wow.
musically, to bounce off of. And so that's what I did. And so I was able to play with orchestras in my professional life, and I was able to perform as a soloist. It took years to develop to where I am now in my
Right.
solo artistry as a contemporary crossover player. But
Right.
my foundation is classical, and I was studying jazz as well, traditional jazz studies in college too.
Oh.
While I was studying classical, I was kind of studying at the same time, but I did private lessons on the side. My
Wow.
professors didn't know I was doing all that. So I was just studying. I was so interested in jazz, and I was like, I have to learn this style because it's going to help me express myself. And the
Mm.
first tune that I played around with was Wade in the Water, and because that was bluesy. And
I'm bringing that up. Go ahead, finish. I can't wait.
yeah, so that was the first tune I had ever played that was non-classical,
Mm.
that I brought to the forefront and played it when I was about 19 years old for this church. I was sweating. I
Wow.
was shaking because I was like, I hope this sounds good. And they loved it. They wouldn't
Oh
sit
yeah.
down. And I was
Yeah.
like, I guess I did good. And I just kind of slipped off the stage, and I just took a deep breath. I just remember that day. And so from then on, I knew that I could go anywhere.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right. That is awesome. And I wrote down Wade in the Water. So y'all just hold on in this interview. But before I get to Wade in the Water, and I love how you shared that information. One thing that came to my mind while you were talking, Brooke, you are a machine. You have the parts. And so I can see how someone as gifted and talented and self-expressive as you are would say, you know what, I feel kind of maybe suppressed or claustrophobic, or I feel there's more and I want to be myself. And to me, that's how I feel about dance. Sometimes I
Mhm.
just want to do my own thing because this is what I sense and I want to be free.
Mhm.
And I love, that's the beauty of what you do. That I think that's why
Right.
we love you so much of what you're doing. I want to bring up, before we get to December 17th, y'all, we're going to talk about December 17th in just one moment, because that is our date night, Triumphant family. So hold on tight. But I want to get to T-shirts for a cause.
Mhm.
Um, I love this because this deals with those students that don't have the opportunity, if I'm not mistaken, to have music in school. Explain T-shirt for a cause, because I think this is something that we need to hear and understand.
Yes, T-shirt for a cause. Basically, it's an endeavor that I started about 5 years, almost 6 years ago. Just as
Okay.
my way of saying, I want to help. It's a program that basically was focusing on music programs in schools that were starting to diminish.
Uh,
A lot of the
okay.
programs were diminishing because they were taking them out of schools.
Right.
So I said, well, if I can just, even if I take a portion of my payment, I just want to be
Mhm.
able to help and give because I know what the music programs did for me
Right.
in my upbringing. And a lot of them were very kind. A lot of my instructors were very kind in giving time,
Mhm.
aside from their already exhausting and busy schedules, to stay after school with me, to come early for me, to, in the music programs I grew up in. So I was like, this is the least I can do. And so I've been able to contribute to various programs through the years, but I kind of shifted my energy this year. I shifted it to my father once he transitioned, because while people were wanting to contribute and support t-shirts for a cause, I said, you know what, I really want to highlight my father and his
Mhm.
legacy instead. So
Right.
whatever contributions are going to come in, I want to give it to a fund that I started in my father's name,
Oh,
called
wow.
the Dr. Vernon R. Alford Jr. Purpose Filled Life Fund for the youth. And so we have almost we've raised about $5,000 so far. It's only been about a month or so
Oh,
that we've been
wow.
collecting. So, if you do want to contribute, that information is available on my Facebook page, or you can just type in Vernon R. Alford Jr., and that page will come up and you can contribute if you would like to support this fund for the youth, those who
Right.
have a vision like I did, but can have the guidance and have the mentorship along the way to keep them focused, and to also be their best selves, and learn how to take care of themselves and their bodies, their spirit, just holistically all around. So that's what the fund focuses on, funding for a youth that it is awarded to. But you can contribute to that. So my focus has shifted to that, and
Yeah.
I have some plans and visions for 2021 in regards to this fund, and just continuing to raise funds for it so that we can give and be able to help the next youth and generation
Right.
that are creatives and
Yeah.
artistic. So
Yeah, I love that. And I want to emphasize that. So those of you that are listening and watching tonight, no matter where you're at, I really want to encourage you to donate into this fund, because when we think about the youth and the opportunities that some of us have had when we were younger and what's happening now, there is a need. And when we talk about funding and state budgets and cuts and just everything we're dealing with now, there is a need. When I was in school, we had physical education, we had music classes every week. And
yeah,
so we had these opportunities. Yeah. I mean, I think on my first show with you, Brooke, I shared how I started with the violin after the piano, and maybe that was maybe one day, and then I moved on. But right, I think I shared I was in an orchestra, didn't know nothing while I was playing, just moved a little. But anyway, that's a whole nother story.
there.
God
Yeah,
was right. But we had the exposure to see what we wanted to do, and we had those teachers that came alongside to help, as you said, mentor. So those of you that really you're looking for somewhere to donate, you want to give for Christmas, etc., this is an excellent opportunity and platform to give and donate to this fund. And so again, you can get it off of Brooke's Facebook page, you can go to her website, you can also go to Dr. Vernon's page as well, and give. And if you all have, I don't know if someone, Vernon can type in, or Dimitri can type in Dr. Alfred's Facebook page, or just type in the Facebook pages for giving. That would be great. You
yes.
guys are such a help also. So that would be good. So that's what this is all about. And so let's get into what's about to happen this week, before I get into this last segment. On December 17th, you will be playing with Trey Daniels, international saxophonist, at 7 p.m. It is a free live virtual concert. It is called Sax and Strings. It is an event we don't want to miss, and we want you to tell us all about it so that we know what to do. I do see, thank you, Dimitri, for putting the Eventbrite in the chat so that we know where to go. But Brooke, tell us about this event on the 17th.
Yes, and I'm over here trying to answer a few chats myself.
Yeah, good.
I'm trying to be active at the same time in real life, in real time too. But yes, the event on December the 17th with Trey Daniels, who is an international saxophonist. And he would have been here tonight, but he's actually performing. Yeah. So I said, I hold it down for the team.
Right.
And so,
hey, Trey.
Yes, and Trey is definitely a talented, energetic, vibrant artist. And he has his coin called sax therapy, which is about therapeutic sounds through the sax to help heal. And so we both knew we had that same value and mission of healing, of our sounds, being greater than us and it being bigger than us. And so that's why it was easy to come together for this collaboration. And we were like, let's just do it. We both, everything kind of slowed down this year anyway with our performances since, it's all shut down. So we were like, we'll innovate and we'll create something special to really encourage people through this time, because it's been a tough year.
Yeah, I mean, all of us.
And so we said we're going to just bring some more hope to the people. Let's do this show. Let's just have a good time and give some hope. And so that's what we did. I'll be home for the holidays, Sax and Strings edition. And it's featuring myself, Brooke Alford, the artist of the violin, and Trey Daniels on saxophone. And so we will be starting at 7:30 on the 17th, and the tickets are available on eventbrite.com. And you can just type in eventbrite.com and then go to the search and type in Sax and Strings Holiday, or Sax in, the letter N, Strings Holiday, or you can just go Sax and Strings Holiday.eventbrite.com. Either way, you will find it. It's also on my website. Right at the top, you can purchase your tickets for December the 17th from Brooke Alford Violin.com as well. But if you go to Eventbrite and you just type in my name or you type in Trey's name, it's going to come up and you can get your tickets right here, right now. And we would love to see you.
I love the fact that you all are you take music and you don't just play it. There's something again about the release of sound. I'm so connected with that. The release of sound and what it does to us. And I'm loving the fact, those of you that are listening and watching, I'm telling you, you need to make sure that your friends and family connect with this on the 17th, because we do need some joy. If we already have it, we need to store up.
Right.
We need to keep that wheel turning in this season, because even sometimes the most happiest people sometimes don't realize, okay, live another day or two. You don't know what's going to slam at your door in a few days. So we have to keep that spirit of humility, but we also have to keep feeding ourselves that hope and that joy and that laughter and that love. It does something to us. And so sound and instruments, that's why I called this month December to Remember, because most of the guests, there's something musical or something that they're doing that's bringing joy into the homes, joy to the world, into the homes, and just allowing people to say, you know what, it's going to be okay. Smile a little, laugh a little, love a little, kick back a little bit, And so I'm excited about the 17th. I want to emphasize, those of you that are listening and watching or catching the replay, that you go to Eventbrite and that you do get your ticket and hang out with Trey and Brooke on this night, and just be in the midst and the atmosphere of what God is doing and just what they're doing and the fun they're having. And I just don't think you'll be disappointed. As someone who's watched Brooke and has seen some clips of Trey, I'm like, whoa, this is going to be a beautiful night. So please, 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 that's our date night. And listen, one thing I thought, hey, thank you, Dimitri, for those links. You are awesome. Thank you. I'm loving it. One thing I thought about with what you do, Brooke, your music is not just for entertainment or for just someone to sit back and hear music. I looked at this, I said, you know what? For the dancers or for the preschool teacher, whatever, this could be the music you're playing in the room. For the dancers, I put, we can do improvisations to the strings of your music. We can warm up to it. We can do technical drills to your music. And so it's such a holistic machine. Do you feel that way about what you do as well?
Absolutely. And I wanted to just mention, Sherida, that we are going to have just recently Grammy nominated poet Queen Sheba hosting our event. So I just had to add it. She was just added to the show. We were so excited. We were like, what else can we give the people? So we're like, let's give them some mo. And that is Queen Sheba. She is awesome. She has been in the game for a minute and she's extremely successful. And we're just glad to have her on the stage with that. It's going to be even more fire. It's just going to be a whole blaze. And
it's going to be electric. Yes, that energy is going to be off the charts. So I'm excited for Grammy nominated Queen Sheba to be a part of this event. Look at y'all. You're getting candy already. You got your candy cane already. You don't have to wait to open your candy cane or your gifts on Christmas. It's coming December 17th.
Absolutely. And just to answer your question, I believe it was about the, or just ask me again so I can make sure I heard you properly.
Yeah, we were talking about, and you know this because you're a dancer and you're a vocalist as well. It's like your music that you do, we can use this in our dance classes. We can use it with technical drills. A teacher can use it. I mean, share about that because I want people to know that this is beyond borders. This is not a walled up violinist. This is not a walled up artist. This is not a walled up woman. Share with us and let them know the power and the gift that goes beyond our imagination.
Absolutely. Well, the first thing is I know that when I first got into my artistry and I played for this producer, he was like, you're just more than a violinist. You're more than just someone who stands there and plays beautifully. You actually have a voice. You sing through your instrument. You talk to people through your instrument. We can enjoy you on this track. We can enjoy you in this setting. So it was one of those things that had to be pointed out to me because I was just kind of living it. I was just kind of like, I dance, I sing, I run, I do all of these different things to make up the whole of who I am. But what is that glue? What is it, And it just comes down to being a passionate person. And in everything that I do, it's about doing my best. And it's about giving of myself every single time, because when you give of yourself and you do your best every time, you have no regrets. And so I've lived my life as regret-free as possible. Of course, we have moments where we're like, man, I should have, but you learn from those moments. It's hard sometimes. You learn and you say, now I know. Next time around, I'm going to do it this way. But it's just about giving it every single time. My teacher, she taught me that. My late violin professor from Florida State, she said, Brooke, I don't care where you play your best. I don't care if it's for one person, by yourself, two people. You always play your best. You don't know who those two people could be, And so I've taken that in all aspects of my life. Yes, holistically, I do live a holistic life. I believe in natural healing, and I believe that if we just use the tools that God has given us, we can be the greatest.
Oh my God.
That's how I live. And you can ask my closest family. That is something that I hold very dear to my heart, and that my temple has to be cleared in order for me to even do this work.
Right.
So I give thanks to that. And, you know, just this show on Sunday, or on, excuse me, on December the 17th, you have me,
Yeah.
I don't know where I got Sunday from. I guess I got excited. But this show on Thursday, December the 17th,
Yes.
is one that is going to just highlight this wonderful celebration of life, this wonderful celebration of hope, of just great energy all coming together on stage. This is not just, okay, everyone, just sit down and let's listen. This is the production. And we have come to a beautiful studio that we are going to be launching this from, and having, you know, we pulled out the bells and whistles for this one because we really want it to be so special, you
Yeah.
know, and we want the quality to be outstanding. So we are really taking a great effort to give, especially it being the last part of the year, we're going to just lay
Yeah.
it out on the table for y'all.
That's it.
So
Oh my God, I love it. I love it. And
yeah.
I love how you talked about just the way of being whole and healthy and natural. And that really we have already been given the things to keep us healthy. I
We
was
have.
watching, there's a Netflix show. I don't remember the name. I don't know if it's called Alive or what. It could be Alive or something else. And they send like 12 people out to the wilderness in different parts of the country, and they have to survive. And once they can't take it anymore, they go home. And it was so amazing just to see the things that people use, the resources right there to stay alive for so many days.
Right.
And I, you know, was just pulling my own revelation as I was watching this. This was back in the summer. And I was like, God, you really gave us everything we needed. We just have to use our mind, and we just have to, you know, really trust that what you said, it's right there for us. And so sometimes we jump the gun and think we need, oh, what's this? Let me try this and that. But realistically,
It's right here. We are centered in
yeah,
abundance. Like,
we are.
all we got to do is just open our eyes to see it.
Yeah.
Just, you know, think we are lacking, but we are never lacking. Our heart is still beating.
Right. That's right.
Our air is still flowing through our body.
Yeah.
You know, we
Yeah.
have it all. We just
That's
have
it.
to know it, and again with our mouth claim that. So
That's right. That's
that's
right.
what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, listen, those of you that are watching and listening, I'm not telling you to go to the wilderness tonight and stay there and to say, Sherida told me that,
Right,
no.
right.
I just want to say that, you know, I kind of connect with that because I believe that. Listen, I want to talk about what we have online real quick, and then I want you to share any final nuggets with us. I'm so excited about just what's going on in your life. But you do have some clips of some of your CDs, I believe it is, on your website. And so there's one that I love. It's the invention. I guess that's the title. And that's the one that has Wade in the Water in it. Listen, y'all, if you're listening tonight, when you go to Brooke's site, go to Wade in the Water. It's the last one. When you look at her screen, there's 4 CDs. It's the last one. And go and listen to Wade in the Water. Don't, you know, you can listen to the other ones after, but start with Wade in the Water because that's one of my favorites. So,
Yes.
but you do have a Christmas one. That's the first one up there. So you all get a clip of what she does and how she's I'm sorry, I'm not sure what she does and how she's plays these genres, and it's just so smooth, and the creativity that comes off of her through her those strings. I can't explain it. But you'll connect. Let me just say that. Take a listen at the clips. Support, support, support. Book, book, book. There's so much that I know we are in the quote pandemic and all these things that are going on through this season, and the things that everyone's talking about. And I don't want to get into that, but find a way or make one, y'all.
Yes.
Find a way or make one. And there are so many entrepreneurs and artists out there that can still use it can be of a service to you, whether it's your community center, your congregation. Virtual platforms are expanding their technology. It is out there. Come on.
Yes.
So we want to support and book and just really hold up those that are really keeping it 100 and real and just doing great work and that are encouraging and inspiring as well. And Brooke Alford is one of those individuals. So Brooke, I'm just excited that you came on the Triumphant Show on tonight. I thank you for your openness and just sharing a little nugget to us of just your life growing up and the creativity that's been around your household and your family and your parents and the encouragement that you gave us in the midst of grieving and loss. What would be something that you would want to leave with the listeners and viewers tonight as global artist who brings hope into homes? Whether it's outside or inside. What would you want to leave with us tonight?
Oh, wow.
It could be a favorite phrase, a word, anything.
Yes. If I
Yeah,
had to sum it all up and choose just one,
yeah.
I would say work harder. And these are the words of the great Jim Rohn, who was a economic entrepreneur master. And I've learned so much from him. I learned from many different teachers and leaders, whether it's spiritual, economic, just many. It's like being in a classroom.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome.
I learned from many. You can learn from everybody, good or bad. You can learn from everybody. But he said a phrase. He said, "Work harder on yourself than you do on anything else." But in his words, was on your job. So most people get caught up in what they're doing, but they don't realize that they are the ones that have to operate it. So if the operation is out of whack, the product can't be at its greatest. And so we have to take care of ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves, and we have to take care of our mind. Even in the Bible, it talks about renewing your mind daily. So the mind, if we don't have our mind, we really don't have ourself. We can have a body, but working harder on yourself than you do on anything else, because you are going to be the one to create the beauty in the life that you want. And that's what God has given us, that gift to think and that gift to use this body that's temporary to fulfill a greater purpose bigger than ourselves. But we have to take care of our first home, which is our body. It's our first home. And then our second home, of course, is the earth. And then we have our other homes, physical homes. So we got to take care of this first. This is our temple. And so our temple has to be able to be cleared so we can think, so we can see, so we can move, so we can be in our purpose. And so work hard on yourself. Develop good habits. Be that person that you'd want somebody to be for you, basically. And just continue to be gentle with yourself, but still keep yourself set at a standard, so that you can keep growing and keep learning. So that's what I would say.
I love it. I love it. And we are in a season definitely of understanding what it really means to have self care.
Yes.
So perfect word as we conclude the show. Perfect. Listen, Brooke, thank you so much for joining the show tonight. Everyone, please make sure that you share this broadcast with those that you know will be blessed by just hearing Brooke's testimony, her just information about who she is and what's coming up. Someone just might need a refresher because they know her because she's so worldwide, and just to get excited about how she's continuing to be used in such a great way throughout the world, and about the virtual concert coming up, the who, what, when, why, and how. Make sure you go to Eventbrite to register for your ticket so that we know you're coming. Don't just say you're coming and you don't. Go to Eventbrite. Go there tonight and support. Make sure that you donate as well. As we talked about earlier in the broadcast. You can rewind this so that you can get information. Our great Dimitri has put everything in the chat, so we're going to be good for that. And so I'm excited. Listen, we're wrapping up our show right now. Remember, if you want to be a guest for the show, make sure you send me an email at sheridalovelace@gmail.com. Also, be sure to catch me every Wednesday night at 11 p.m. as I co-host Late Night with Jerry Royce Live, airing on DeKalb 25 Comcast TV. And make sure you follow me at Sherida Lovelace Ministries and on YouTube at S Lovelace TV. It's building, it's growing, and I want you with me. Come on, grab a brick, grab a nail, grab a hammer. Let's keep building. Yes, I'm excited. Listen, everyone, we love you. We thank you. Thank everybody for supporting my awesome guest on tonight. Make sure that you go to her website as well and follow her, www.brookealfordviolin.com. Again, all this is in the chats. We will see you next week, same time, same channel. And God bless you. Have a wonderful night. And remember that this is the place where victory repeats itself. We'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.
Yes, thank you. Good night.